So it's been a while. It's been since December since I gave you an update on what's been happening with my Inspire journey, excuse me. So I thought I'd just give you a little bit of a review about what's been going on, and this is live, so I don't know if any of you are going to pick this up. Um, I haven't quite figured everything out about how to do the videos other than just doing it live, so that's what I'm doing. Anyway, so I had my sleep study a couple weeks ago, and it was a very interesting experience. When I did my original sleep study for the Inspire device, it was a home study, so they just gave me like a monitoring device to determine what my AHI level was. So this one was in the place in the room. They hooked me up to all kinds of stuff. I look like a science project. Um, I think it's hilarious that they expect you to sleep, but I purposefully stayed up uh, a really long time and made sure that I was completely exhausted so that when I went to the sleep study, I would actually fall asleep and sleep. And one of the things they did is they connected to the device, and throughout the night, what they were studying is how I responded, how my breathing changed based on settings that they indicated throughout the night. And what they were trying to determine is what my exact level was. So, what I've been doing from December until now, activated in December until now, is I've been adjusting my device. I've been increasing, the level, and it shows up on the back here. I don't know if you can see, it doesn't quite show up. Um, there, you can kind of see it's at the third level right here. But I've been doing this on my own. Each week I would adjust it up, and then I'd go back to the doctor like every 6 weeks, and they would download the information on my device, and then they would reevaluate where I was at, and then they would reset this level and say, okay, now I want you to go up from this level. And so we've been fine tuning it, and the sleep study was the final tuning of everything. And so throughout the night, the sleep study coordinator would adjust my rate of voltage to my tongue. One of the most interesting findings from that was that going up to a higher voltage did not necessarily net better, uh, I guess, results for my throat opening up, better airway, support. So they went up to a high enough voltage that it actually woke me up. And I woke up because it felt like all the muscles in my head were pulling forward, and I actually felt a little nauseous. So that was like my top. Um, and I went from, I'm just going to share with, anyway, I don't think you'll be able to see the information on it. Hopefully not. But it showed on here that at my lowest rate, I was at 3.9 apneas or AHI, but at my highest, I was at 147. And that was them messing with the voltage. And that was actually my highest voltage too, that 147. So that highest range actually increased my obstruction rather than decreased it, which we thought was really interesting finding. So went way back down. I just had my appointment with my doctor, and we figured out what the exact right place for me to be. And I can say that now that I found that sweet spot, I guess, um, I don't wake up in the morning anymore with that like feeling like I have to catch my breath. I just wake up and I feel rested, and I don't have horrible bags under my eyes anymore. Um, and so it did take a while, and we were going really slow with it because of my previous tongue paralysis. But it's all been totally worth it because for the last 3 or 4 days, I've been just waking up. And I haven't had that experience in years. I mean, it's been years since I've just been able to fall asleep and wake up and not have it be because I'm not breathing. So that's been great. Um, so the sleep study was worth it. It was really interesting. I'm sure many of you have had a sleep study before. If you haven't had a sleep study, I'll just briefly describe how it went. The room just looks like a bedroom, a hospital version of a bedroom. The bed that they gave me was a queen size bed. She asked me a lot of questions about my sleep and different things about the device beforehand. And then she put leads, she put this weird glue all over all over my head, my neck, and on my chest. There were some on my back, there were some on my legs. There was a strap that went around my chest and around my belly, my abdomen section. Um, and then there were leads like on my head too, up here. And so I had all this glue and it was a mess when I woke up in the morning. But anyway, all the leads kind of went back into this big cable that they strapped together. And it was a very long cable, but it was hooked up to all kinds of different machines. And when you crawl into bed and then she positioned that bundle of cords kind of under the pillow a little bit, and then you try to sleep. I woke up once because the device woke me up when she had increased it up to that high level of voltage. Um, and I used the bathroom in the middle of the night, and so she had to help me with that. Um, there was also a pulse ox on my finger. Um, and I fell asleep at about 10 p.m. and they woke me up at 5 a.m. and then did a post sleep questionnaire, and she asked me questions, and then I did a little like iPad questionnaire about the experience, and then I went home. Um, Recommendation for the sleep study: wear something that buttons up. She said she gets people that come in hoodies and all kinds of stuff, but if you wear something that buttons, it's a lot easier to get the leads on and stuff. So that's my only recommendation. Also shower really well. Don't put any lotion or moisturizer or anything on because the glue won't stick otherwise. Um, and that's about it. Eat before you go, kind of thing. It's pretty like regimented, the whole thing. So those are my recommendations. And then when you get home, shower and go back to sleep. That's what you do. Okay, so the device itself, I'm not going to be adjusting it. There's a little plus and minus here. I'm not going to be adjusting it anymore, really. They set it at the doctor's office so that if I needed to, I could go up a couple or down a couple, but this is really my sweet spot right here, so I'm not going to mess with it unless something really crazy happens. I have the non Bluetooth device. So any of you that are doing the Inspire surgery, here forward are getting a device that's Bluetooth enabled. My device was the year before the Bluetooth enabled thing. I don't really care. I'm not into the Bluetooth stuff anyway, but anyway, I did notice, by the way, that those devices that you can put your phone on to recharge interferes with the signal for this. So when I was visiting some people and they had one of those, actually as a kindness for their guest room, a little charging station. I had to go outside of the room to turn my device on because that pad interfered with the signal. I also don't keep my phone next to my device because there can be a little interference there, and it's not interference that is physical here. It just doesn't let me turn the device on or off because it conflicts with the signal. So that's just something I figured out. I don't know if it's the same for the Bluetooth ones, but for this one, that was one of the issues. I've only had to change the batteries once in this, so they last a pretty long time. But I've discovered when I travel, taking an extra set of batteries is a good idea. I ran out of battery one time when I was traveling and had to go hunt down some batteries. So take some extra batteries with you so you can always use your device when you travel. Um, and then I found out I think it's like $300 to replace it if you lose your device. So don't lose your device. Um, okay. Um, so now I'm in what they call maintenance mode. So I'll have another appointment in 6 months. And then if all goes well with that, then I'll go to yearly appointments until the 10-year mark. And at that point, they say they change the batteries in the device, but they may even just change out the device if technology is advanced enough that the device itself is better. And so I don't know what'll happen in, the I've had the device now for a year and in 9 more years, but that's the general scale of things. So annual checkups with the pulmonologist and the Inspire rep, and then at 10 years you go in for battery replacement and or device change out. I did ask the rep about what is involved with that and asked if they actually like mess with the lead to your lungs, to your neck, anything like that. And he said no, they just are focused on the device. So that's all I know about that. I don't know that it's something to be particularly concerned about. He did say that they don't want to mess with this, with the lead, because it's attached to that nerve. They want to leave it alone. Um, but I'll find out in 9 years. Maybe I'll do another video in 9 years. Who knows? Uh, as far as my recovery is going, in previous videos, I talked about how I know really well about how my body responds to injury and to surgery, and that I was fully aware of how long it would take me to recover, particularly this nerve area. Um, I can say that initially I had headaches and I had ear pain, and when I ate, it would give me headaches and ear pain back here. Since the device has been activated, I have no ear pain anymore. Um, I don't have issues chewing, and as for the headaches, I don't have the headaches. If I get a headache, it's for another reason. Um, so I still get headaches, but it's for another reason. It's not for all of this. I have healed really well. You can't really see the scar there. I do have a keloid scar down here, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that because if you're somebody who gets keloid scars, my doctor was interested in knowing why this did not keloid, but this one did, and I don't know. I've never had a keloid scar before, so I do have family members that get them, so I guess a genetic predisposition for it. So this one down here developed into a keloid. If you don't know what a keloid scar is, it's a scar that basically your brain signals your skin to keep producing scar tissue, and so it ends up being raised and pink, and it's tender and sensitive, and I do get like nerve zaps, I don't know how else to describe it, from the scar. So basically it doesn't heal because it's continuing to build scar tissue. Um, I talked to my dermatologist about what to do about it. So if you're a keloid scar person, these were the options that have been presented to me so far. I'm still doing some research on how to deal with it. So the first one was to inject a steroid into it to see if the steroid can't help the scar development. The second one was to inject chemotherapy and a steroid into the scar and see if that doesn't halt that cellular production. Um, my dermatologist said that that particular procedure is very painful. Chemotherapy can be very expensive. I haven't checked with my insurance to see if it's covered, but even if it was covered on mine, it might not matter for you. You'll have to figure that out for you. The fact that it's very painful is kind of unappealing to me. So the other thing that came up was whether or not it was okay to inject that chemical, that chemotherapy chemical, so close to the device, and if the chemotherapy would somehow degrade the device. And so the dermatologist asked me to talk to my pulmonologist and the Inspire rep about this, and they recommended I call patient services, which I have not done yet because I haven't had time. But the recommendation my pulmonologist and the Inspire rep gave me was to talk to a plastic surgeon about microsurgery to actually remove the keloid scar and stitch it back up in such a way that it wouldn't produce another keloid scar. And that actually might be a better option. So those are currently the things I'm investigating for the keloid scar. In the meantime, I'm continuing to put the scar treatment that you can get at the drugstore. Forgot that for a sec. At the drugstore. And so I just keep applying that, and it does help a little bit, like mitigate the sensitivity and the pain and stuff like that. So it's not something that I'm aware of all day, every day. It doesn't bother me while I sleep. It's not like a nagging pain or issue. If I touch it or poke it, it's sensitive, so I don't touch it or poke it. um, and every once in a while, like I said, I'll get that like achy feeling, that like kind of nerve grabbing it, and that lasts for I don't know, a minute or so, and that's pretty intermittent. There's really no. I've tried to track it, but there's no rhyme or reason to it. Um, so that's what's happening with the scarring and the healing. As for my paralysis from my tongue, it's about 98, 99% fine. When I stick my tongue out, it's not crooked or anything. Every once in a while, my tongue just feels a little sloppy in the morning, but that's even improved quite a bit, even in the last like month or two. So long term, this might be as much as all of that heals. I'm fine with it. My quality of life is not diminished by it at all. Um, I'm good. So the other thing that's interesting is, as you use the device more, it's stimulating the muscles, in your throat and your neck. And so as those muscles become more conditioned, they strengthen. And so I'm wondering, and this is just, theory of Carrie or whatever, but I'm wondering if the longer I use it and the more, those muscles get used to that stimulation, that it might end up 100% resolving itself, but we'll see. Um, and that's about it. I am now in the, uh, you know, feeling better, loving life, not having to strap a CPAP machine to my face every night, and feeling a lot more freedom and independence because of this surgery. And I've said this in previous videos, even though I have had complications, I would still do it again. 100%. I would still do it again. It is a much better fit for me than the CPAP was. And I've been very pleased with the Inspire people and their attention to detail and their desire to ensure that I'm having a good experience with it. I've appreciated my current pulmonologist and her knowledge and willingness to work with me on this. Um, and the other thing that I think is interesting, particularly with this keloid scar, is that there's a plastic surgeon's office that the Inspire rep told me is going to become an Inspire. They're going to contract with Inspire. I don't know. They're going to become rep, or not reps, but Inspire doctors. They're going to have an Inspire doctor in this plastic surgery office. I think that's brilliant. I went to an ear, nose, and throat doctor who's a great doctor, and this scar is fine. It's great. I'm wondering if this one is different just because that particular surgeon is better at, ear, nose, and throat as opposed to chest, because the chest, skin, and muscles move differently than, your face and everything. And so there is an aspect of the skin kind of pulling in different directions. I have no idea. Again, health according to Carrie. But I think that's a great option. If I had had that option initially, I think I would taken it for sure. Just because I've developed this keloid scar, but um, there's no necessarily correlation between the two at all. That's just things I'm thinking about. Um, let's see. I don't think I've had any questions lately that I haven't answered on the comments. If you have any, I try to answer them to the best of my ability. I know Inspire isn't for everyone, but it's, my parting words here for my 5th review would be, know your body, know how you heal. If you don't know how you heal or you don't know your body, something you've never thought about, think about it. Sit down and evaluate. When I have had a cut, how have I healed? If I've had surgery before, how have I healed? You need to take whatever they tell you is going to be the outcome and understand that they're giving you the best case scenario when they tell you, oh, you'll be back to work in 3 weeks, or oh, you'll be down for a week, or whatever. That's the best case scenario. There are people out there that have that experience, but there's people like me that are on the other end of the scale that take a year to recover and do have complications and do need a little more time to work through whatever is needed. That being said, because I understood how I was going to heal, you have to know about your nerves, you need to know about your skin, um, you need to know how you respond to electrical stimuli. Um, all of those things are really important to understand. Also, ask your surgeon questions, all the questions. There are no dumb questions where this is concerned. Ask all of them. I wish I would have asked how long I thought the surgery was going to take, because I wanted to know how long I was going to be under anesthesia, because I know how my body responds to anesthesia. And that's an important thing to know. Ask what anesthesia they're going to use to put you under so that you can have conversations about that. You can do research on you know, whether or not you're going to come out of anesthesia quickly. The longer anesthesia hangs around in your body, the longer it takes for you to start, healing and stuff like that. So, or just like getting back up on your feet. So that's going to affect whether you can go back to work. That's going to affect whether you can drive, all of those kinds of things. Make sure you have somebody to help you post surgery. You will not feel like helping yourself, and you probably won't want to or be able to. Have somebody to help you at a minimum for the first week post surgery. Make sure you get all of your meds before you get home from the hospital. Make sure they are there, because by the time you get home from the hospital, you've been in recovery, you've woken up, you've driven home, and the pain medication from your surgery is likely wearing off. So you want to be able to take that pain medication when you get home from surgery so that your pain meds don't lapse. This hurt a lot. Not gonna lie. Maybe there's people out there that had no issues with pain, but for me, it hurt a lot. I was in a lot of pain. And that was just like the first, I don't know, 2 or 3 days. You'll have to look at my old videos to see how long it was. It's been a long time now. Um, and then food. Make sure you have soft foods that you can eat. You're not going to want to use a straw. I can tell you that right now. Activating these muscles in your throat by sucking on a straw is not going to feel good. You're going to want things that you can scoop. And I found warm and hot things were more palatable and soothing to my throat than cold things. Don't know why, but the warm stuff just felt better. And if you have the tongue paralysis like I did, chewing is really hard. Swallowing is really hard. So make sure you have foods, applesauce that you can warm up, chicken broth, mashed potatoes, those kinds of things. Um, what else? Oh, wear something comfortable with the buttons up to go to surgery, because you're going to have bandages here. You're going to have bandages here. You're not going to want to put something on over your head. Get a button up top. Make sure you have shoes that are easy to slip in and out of. That's the other thing. I think that's about it. And I can't emphasize enough, do your own research. Do your own research. Don't rely on, this is just my opinion, my experience. So do your own research and find out for yourself if this is the right thing for you. There are lots of different treatments for sleep apnea. I found this one to be the most effective, permanent, and least invasive of all of them. And that includes CPAP, because I found CPAP to be incredibly invasive for me. I had a full mask. Every time it kicked on, when my breathing, my obstructions would increase throughout the night, it felt like a leaf blower blowing in my face, and it would wake me up. CPAP never helped me sleep better. It was never comfortable. I hated having to clean it all the time and do maintenance on it. I have family members. It's a genetic thing in my family, sleep apnea, and I have family members that love their CPAP. They love it. They don't see any reason to do anything different, and that's great. That is for them, but it wasn't for me. And so you have to really decide. There's also palate surgeries and jaw surgeries and all kinds of stuff. And I just thought, I don't want to go through all of that kind of surgery when my sleep apnea is because my tongue falls into my throat and my throat collapses. So you need to understand what kind of apnea you have too. Um, and I think that's it. So uh, good luck on your own Inspire journey if that's what you're doing. And I hope my videos have helped you. And I hope you have a good experience. And like I said, if you have any questions at all, I will try and answer them as best I can. But I hope my 5 videos have helped um, give you more information than you had before about what it's really like to go through this process. And I am looking forward to many, many, many more nights of good sleep using this device and not having my sleep apnea be a big scary thing to me anymore. All right, thanks.